Coming!
A dramatic end to a more than 24 hours long manhunt for a Kenosha homicide suspect. 33-year-old Marcus Plaza is charged with the murder of his 28-year-old estranged wife, Makayla. Officers took Plaza into custody after he was found hiding in the basement of a salon near 75th Street and 23rd Avenue.
A 4-year-old looked investigators in the eye and said, "Mama got dead. That daddy used a knife. He put knife in mommy's forehead." No child should ever have those words in their mouth, but that is exactly what happened on the morning of April 1st, 2026, in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And the part that will stay with you, the part that will make your stomach drop, is that Makayla Plaza saw it coming. She told the court, she filed the paperwork, she did everything right. And the system still let her die. Makayla Rutka was born on December 12th, 1997. She grew up in the Kenosha area, graduated from Westosha Central High School in 2016, and by her mid-20s she had built a life that most people would look at and respect. She worked as a correctional officer with the Kenosha County Sheriff's Office. She taught at Head Start, a program for young children from low-income families. She was a mother of 3. By every account from people who knew her, family, friends, co-workers, she was the kind of person who put other people before herself every single time. She loved animals. She was kind. She showed up for people. And for a while, she showed up for Marcus Plaza too. Marcus Plaza was 33 years old. He and Makayla were married, and together they had 2 young children, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. There was also an older child in the picture. On paper, they were a family. But what was happening inside that house was a different story. By early January 2026, police had already been to that home multiple times. Incidents were documented, reports were filed, and still, things continued to build. Then on February 2nd, 2026, Makayla made a decision that took real courage. She filed for divorce. The very next day, February 3rd, she went a step further and petitioned for a restraining order against Marcus, a harassment injunction. She wanted him out of her life and out of her space, officially and legally. The things she described in that petition were not vague. They were specific, documented, and deeply troubling. She said Marcus had physically abused her, including bruising on her chest after he grabbed her phone and tried to lock her out of her own home. She said he controlled her money, changed account passwords, and cut off her access to finances. She said he monitored her phone, watched her communications, and used cameras to keep tabs on her. She said he took her keys, he locked her in, he locked her out, he isolated her. And then there was the detail she made sure to include, that Marcus had access to knives. She also told the court something that stopped people cold when it later became public. She said Marcus had told her she was stuck in this marriage until God decides it's over. That is not a man trying to save a relationship. That is a man trying to own a person, Makayla testified. She laid it all out. She answered questions. She did the work. And on February 9th, 2026, Court Commissioner William Michel II denied her request. He ruled that she had not met the burden of proof. That ruling is still being discussed in Kenosha to this day, and not kindly. The standard for a temporary restraining order in Wisconsin is not high. It is not beyond a reasonable doubt. It is reasonable grounds. And yet, despite testimony about physical abuse, financial control, isolation, monitoring, threats, and a husband who told her she could not leave, the commissioner said no. Reports also indicate that during the hearing, Commissioner Michel limited the number of witnesses Makayla could call. He reportedly expressed some reluctance tied to the ongoing divorce proceedings, as though the two things could not exist at the same time. Makayla left that courtroom without the protection she came for. But she did not stop trying to protect herself. In the weeks that followed, she connected with Corey Williams, her boyfriend, a man she had known since childhood. They had history. He was someone she trusted in a way that felt safe, and the two of them were making plans to move forward, plans to get out. But Marcus was not letting go. On February 19th, less than 2 weeks after the restraining order was denied, Marcus showed up and physically attacked Corey Williams. The details of what happened that day are ugly. He allegedly struck Corey, came at him with a stovetop grate, and swung a knife at him. A knife. The same man Makayla had warned the court about. The man she specifically mentioned had access to knives, had now used one in an assault. Police responded. Marcus was arrested for misdemeanor battery and disorderly conduct. He posted bail and walked out. The district attorney's office did not file charges. Let that sit for a moment. A man with a documented history of abuse toward his wife physically attacks her boyfriend with a knife, and the DA does not pursue it. Makayla's boyfriend, Corey Williams, would later say that after all of this, Makayla felt trapped. Not free, not safe, trapped, desperate, like the very system that was supposed to protect her had looked her in the face and decided she was not worth the paperwork. At some point during this period, Makayla had moved to dismiss her original petition, and in doing so, she checked boxes stating she felt safe and had not been pressured. Kenosha Police Chief Patrick Patton confirmed this detail publicly, but Corey Williams pushed back on that characterization. He said she did not feel safe. He said she felt cornered. He said she checked those boxes because she had run out of options, not because she had run out of fear. She had worked as a domestic violence advocate. She knew what the signs looked like. She had helped other people navigate exactly this kind of situation. And she could not get herself out. April 1st, 2026. A Wednesday morning. It was just after 6 a.m. when a 911 call came in from the 7400 block of 22nd Avenue in Kenosha. Neighbors had heard screaming. Someone was shouting, "Get off of me!" And given the history of that address, the police calls, the reports, the documented incidents, dispatchers sent officers out immediately. When the first units arrived at 7428 22nd Avenue, a man answered the door. He told officers his name was Alan. Just Alan. No last name, no explanation for the screaming. He looked at the officers, and then he slammed the door in their faces. Officers did not leave. They moved around the exterior of the home and looked through a basement window. What they saw through that window changed everything. The man who had called himself Alan, now identified as 33-year-old Marcus Plaza, was in the basement, and he was dragging a body across the floor, an adult, lifeless, being pulled across the ground like she was nothing. Officers forced entry into the home. Inside that basement, they found Makayla Plaza, 28 years old, mother of 3. She had been stabbed multiple times. The medical examiner's autopsy would later confirm 7 stab wounds to her face, her neck, and her chest. Reports indicated a knife was found in her eye. Emergency services were called. But there was nothing to be done. Makayla was pronounced dead at the scene. And in that same basement, physically unharmed but present for every single moment of what had just happened, were her 2 youngest children, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old. They were right there. When investigators later spoke with the children, one of them gave a statement that has stayed with everyone who followed this case. "Mama got dead. That daddy used a knife. He put knife in mommy's forehead." That child watched their father kill their mother. And then they tried to explain it the only way a 4-year-old knows how. Marcus Plaza did not stay to face what he had done. The moment officers breached the home, he ran. Out through the back, through backyards. Gone. What followed was one of the largest manhunts Kenosha had seen in recent memory. More than 50 squad cars were deployed. K-9 units were brought in. Drones swept the area from above. The Kenosha Police Department coordinated with the Kenosha County Sheriff's Office and the Pleasant Prairie Police Department. Officers followed blood trails through backyards and alleyways. Marcus Plaza was on the run for 30 hours, and during that time, he was on Snapchat. While a city mobilized to find him, while his children were being taken out of that basement, while Makayla's family was getting the worst phone call of their lives, he was communicating on social media, reaching out, trying to find people who would give him a ride. He was not hiding in silence. He was running, and he was talking. Then, on the afternoon of April 2nd, tactical intelligence led officers to a hair salon, Salon Suites, located near 75th Street and 23rd Avenue, about 1 block from the scene of the crime. A shelter-in-place order went out to the surrounding neighborhood. Salon was evacuated. Officers moved in. They found Marcus Plaza in the basement of that salon. He had entered through a coal chute. He was hiding in the dark, 1 block from where he had left Makayla dead on the floor. When officers confronted him, he pulled out a box cutter and turned it on himself, stabbing himself in the neck. A brief but violent struggle followed. 2 officers sustained minor injuries. Marcus was subdued, brought out of the building on a stretcher, and transported to a hospital where he was treated and stabilized. From the hospital, he went to jail. Marcus Plaza was charged with first-degree intentional homicide with use of a dangerous weapon. He also faced 2 felony counts of causing mental harm to a child for what his youngest children witnessed in that basement, along with additional misdemeanor charges, including unlawful entry and resisting arrest. A Kenosha County judge set his cash bond at $2 million on April 6th. A competency hearing was also ordered. It was reported that Marcus had a diagnosis of bipolar disorder and had not been taking his medication at the time of the killing. The court needed to determine whether he was fit to stand trial. As of the early April 2026 reports, no trial date had been set and no verdict had been reached. If convicted on the homicide charge, he faces mandatory life in prison. Makayla Plaza filed for divorce. She filed for a restraining order. She testified in open court. She named the weapons. She named the behavior. She named her fear. The system heard her and did not act. Her family, and Corey Williams, have been vocal about what they see as a chain of failures.
Do you think that you failed Makayla and her family?
No, and we take this case seriously.
The denied injunction, the unfiled charges after the February attack, the broader gaps in how Kenosha County handles domestic violence cases. Makayla's stepfather, Aaron Pletz, organized a community fundraiser to cover funeral costs, legal fees, and to help keep a home for her 3 surviving children, who range in age from 2 to 8 years old. Those children are now in the care of extended family. Makayla once sat across from people in crisis and helped them find a way through. She knew this world. She understood what was at stake. And when it was her turn to need the system to hold, it did not hold. Her name is Makayla Marie Rutka Plaza. She was 28 years old. She was a mother, a teacher, an advocate, and someone who made people feel like they mattered. She deserved to live.